All right, we're in chapter 13. We're kind of heading back to our unit circle, as you can see down here. And we're going to be solving our trig equations now. All right, first degree trig equations. Let's understand first of all what the title means. Trig equations. So that means you're going to have equations, just like we have here. And in these equations, we're going to have trigonometry terms now. And we're going to start off today with first degree, which means you're going to see nothing squared or cubed. Everything is going to be raised to the first degree. All right, so to solve this equation, we're going to start and we're going to behave just as if it were an algebra problem. We're going to distribute the 3 and get 3 sine A plus 6 equals 3 minus sine A. And then we're going to move it around so that I get my sine on one side and my numbers on the other. So that means I'm going to take this 6 and move it over to this side. And I'm going to take this sine of A and move it over to the left side. Okay, when I clean this all up, I get 3 sine A plus sine A gives me 4 sine A's. The 6's cancel out. 3 minus 6 gets me negative 3, and then these sine A's cancel out. One little step more, and that's what I got. The sine of A gets me negative 0.75. Whoops. So you are trying to figure out what angle, when you take the sine of it, gets you negative 0.75. And that's where this little part of our directions come in. We want to find to the nearest tenth of a degree all of the angles that are in between 0 and 360. Hey, well that brings us back to our lovely unit circle right here. Since our unit circle went from 0 all the way to 360. All right, well it tells me my angle, when I take the sine of it, is going to get me a negative answer. So that means I'm looking in the third quadrant and the fourth quadrant, because that's where sine is negative. Remember, all students take calculus. So the first quadrant here and the second quadrant here, sine is positive. All right, so we're going to have to pull out our calculators. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure our mode is in degree, because my directions said they wanted to know degree as an answer. And then we're going to go inverse sine negative 0.75. And I get back a reference angle. I get back negative 0.48, so negative 48.6. That's my reference angle, and that's what I'm going to put in those two quadrants. That can't be my answer, because my answers have to be between 0 and 360, and a negative is not between 0 and 360. So remember, we have to come here, we have to see how far we move. How far did I travel along the unit circle? And this is the first place I stop. How big is that angle? Well, that angle is 180 plus 48.6. So that gets me 228.6. Next thing, I got to travel all the way to the fourth quadrant. So how far is it from here all the way to there? Well, that is 360 minus 48.6, because I was just this much short of making a full circle, and that's 48.6. And when I subtract that, I believe I get 311.4. So those are my two answers. Well, there's another way to get these two angles, and that's using your graph. See right here, if I take my graphing calculator, what they asked me to do is to take a sine wave and intersect it with negative 0.75. And where the two intersect are my answer. So if I come back here to my graphing calculator to mimic this, what I would do is I would go into y equals, and in y1 I'd put sine of x, and in y2 I'd put negative 0.75. I'd make sure my window goes from 0 to 360, because that's what they asked me to look for, and now I'm going to graph it. Now, how do I figure out these points right here? I come over here, and I press second function, calculate, and I choose number 5, intersection. It's asking me to take my cursor and move it so it's over my point of intersections. And I'm going to move it. There's my cursor, and there's my first point of intersection. I press enter 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and voila, there's my first answer, 228.5904. And then I repeat the process with my second, to get my second point of intersection. Now, whichever way you choose, you must show work. You cannot just type this on the calculator and get me my answers. The Regents as I requires to see all this work. Then you can cheat from here and just type it onto your calculator and figure it out from your curve. But otherwise, you must show all work. Okay, example 2. We're going to use cotangent, just because it's not on your calculator, and I'm going to show you how to deal with one of the reciprocal functions. Find all the angles A between 0 and 360, and this time we get to go to the nearest degree. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to solve this again. It's first degree problem. Let's see, I'm going to bring this cotangent over here. So that means 8 equals 2 cotangent A plus 2. I'm going to bring that 2 over there. So 6 equals 2 cotangent A. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 3 equals the cotangent of A. All right, I don't have cotangent on my calculator, so I'm going to make a substitution here, just like we were doing proofs back in chapter 12. I know cotangent is 1 over tangent A. Now I can cross multiply to solve this even further and figure out the tangent of A is 1/3. Now I'm going to show you a little shortcut over here that I do. When I get to this point right here, where 3 equals 1 over tangent A, I just do the reciprocal. I'm going to take the reciprocal of 1 over tangent A and make it tangent A. But if I take the reciprocal of one side, I've got to take the reciprocal of the other. So I get the same answer. Okay, that's my little shortcut right there, but onward. One thing I have noticed now is that since this is a positive, that means I'm looking for angles that are in quadrant 3 and quadrant 1, because that's where tangent is positive. Tangent's not positive here or here. All right, let's take out our calculator. Inverse tangent 1 divided by 3. 18. Okay. So I'll put 18 in here. I'll put 18 in here. And I'll just figure out my answers now. Well, the first one's easy. How far is it from here to here? 18 degrees. So A can be 18 degrees, or let's figure out how far it is all the way to the third quadrant. All the way around. Oh, that's 180 plus 18. So that's 198. And again, to get those angles, you could use your graphing calculator. We would look right here, tangent. So the first thing I would do is the tangent of x. And I want to know where the tangent of x equals 1/3. So this would be 1/3. Well, let's see what that graph looks like. There's my tangent. And there's my line 1/3. All right, let's do an intersection. Second function, intersect. Now I'm going to watch my cursor disappear. Now it's traveling along the tangent axis. And you see right here, this is telling me at what degree it's at. It's at 84 degrees. It's coming down 76, 62, 50, 45. There it is again. Boom. Okay, let's see what that is. It tells us it's about 19, but if we let the calculator do its math, there it is. It gets me my answer of 18. And I can repeat this to find this over here. Okay, we're done.